The industry is pushing play of 9 holes. Obviously, 9 holes aren't going to take as long as 18 to play. Therefore, it's going to be a quicker pace of play. It's going to be easier to get a round in during midday. And it's just another way basically to pump golf back into the economy to get a little bit more, more bang for the buck, so to say. Next bullet point I want to speak about is the lack of women playing the game. Typically, women are seen as caregivers of a household. So women would typically, when surveyed, say that they make more decisions as to what the family does in the leisure time as opposed to a father figure. And not having the women playing the game results in a loss of millions of dollars of revenue. And that's something that cannot be ignored. 1 in every 5 golfers, that's all the more female golfers typically there is in the United States as compared to males. Another way, you can do this and get women's participation up, get family rounds increased, get the whole family out to play, get a family-friendly golf course, the Tee It Forward initiative, so there's tee boxes for everyone to enjoy the game. The youth can be introduced to the game, at a fun pace of play. And also a study from Bianchi, Robinson, and Milky found that children between 5 and 18 from single mother households spent less time on home computer activities, religion, sports, art, and reading, and more time watching television than from 2-parent households. This shows that when both parents are active and not just one sex, active in parenting, that these children can be more active in sports and be out in the community seeing more of what the game has to offer. Another great way to be introduced to the game. Next, and probably the most important aspect, I believe, of increasing golf play, and one of the biggest selling points, is the health benefits of golf. It's often overlooked. People don't think of golf as a physically rigorous activity. They think, it's something, older men can go out and do in their leisure time. It doesn't really require any physical effort or, strenuous activity. But many studies have found, especially one from Viguero and Album, found that mortality rates were lowest among golfers with the lowest handicaps. This was a study done in 2009, and it basically showed, the lower you shot typically led to the more rounds you played per week, which then in turn led to, lower risk of health complications and a longer lifespan. Picari in 2000 did a study that found that regular walking has favorable effects on many health and fitness indicators of middle-aged men. Obviously, it says during golf is a safe form of exercise with a high adherence and can be recommended as an appropriate form of health-enhancing physical activity. This says, obviously, golf may not be a physically strenuous sport, but it is a great way to increase, blood flow, joints, cardiovascular health, and, likewise, just overall physical health. Even without going, off into the rough to make up for errant shots, a round of golf can count for as many as 4 miles of walking just during a normal round, not playing, an over length course, an oversized course, which obviously, will make that distance longer. This also can help obesity in America, the sport, by getting more players out walking, cutting down on some of the not cart fees, but the amount of people using carts is also another great way to help a growing trend that's alarming, because roughly 17% of younger Americans from the age of 2 to 19 are obese. So it's something really that needs to be addressed, not to mention, the 35.7% of adult Americans that are obese. So golf is a great way to, to be able to push the health of the nation. Excuse me. Goals, outcomes, and benefits of my project definitely were not overlooked. There's great ways to boost participation. That was the biggest thing I wanted to find. Get more people out playing. Excuse me. Definitely in the climate we're in now, the price of golf is more expensive as compared to the South. There's not, the time over the years throughout the year in order to play. You can only play maybe 6 months out of the year if you're lucky. In our climate, whereas down in, say, Florida, for example, Texas, for example, Southern California, you can play nearly year round. Therefore, the courses don't have to rely on all their income coming in one part of the one part of the year. That's not in any control for the course, but to lower the price of the game was definitely one of the key ingredients. How can you get more people in to lower the price overall? Obviously, I had a goal of getting more participants involved. Obviously, great way to grow the game, as I've said, and another way to introduce it, show values to children that golf promotes. The community also benefits from many improvements to courses. Natural wildlife habitats and endangered areas are protected by golf courses because as long as the course is ran correctly, there's so many beautiful areas of courses and stuff that people can go out and enjoy. The public image can be enhanced, as well as psychological effects of members of the community. Communities can be seen as a more enjoyable place to live and work. Obviously, lastly, you want to increase revenue for courses. This is the main, as I've said, the main focus of all courses that you want. You want to be able to build your business, grow, and you're in business to make a profit, and that's what it also really comes down to. Some of the methods and procedures I use to come to the conclusions that I have. I completed a thorough literature review that has already been reviewed earlier in bullet points. Survey was developed basically through literature reviews, through scholarly articles, and different ways that have shown to give businesses ideas to structure their customer profile in order to make the best decisions for them. There was also a study from Kim and Trail in 2010 that I used. It looked into sport consumer behavior and motives, basically looking into why fans and participants act the way they do. What is the factors that drive them? Lastly, there was a survey that I used from Humphreys and Ruiski from 2006 that compiled a random sample of 275,000 participants. This basically, showed all kinds of different economic, demographics, and environmental factors that go into a participation model, and can also be studied and reviewed for participation models, and why certain demographic and economic areas, what they do to affect the consumer model. Lastly, we have some results that have been concluded through the research and through a survey that was completed and developed by myself. One result to get more participation up is having family days at courses. Sponsor a day where you bring the whole family at a discounted rate, maybe incorporate a lunch or a snack or something on the course. A great way to boost participation, get the family out, have some important family time. Incorporate school programs such as the First Tee program. Coupled with elementary schools, introduce children to the game of golf in gym classes at a young age. Most children never get introduced to the game of golf until their younger years. If this can get incorporated into school programs at the elementary, the middle school level, there stands a greater chance of children being impacted by the game and therefore picking up the game as a full-time hobby. To get women more involved in the game, courses will need to sponsor a ladies' day, a women's day, where ladies can come out, they can get a group together, play at a reduced rate as compared to any other regular admission of the day. And that, like I said, that's another great way to get women out so they can enjoy the game, and then in turn make family decisions based on their ladies' days. Public driving ranges need to be increased. Some of the top golf facilities around the area have done a good job of this by adding fun games into the driving range. It's not just going out and kind of hitting balls aimlessly into an open field, so to say. They incorporate games where you got to hit the balls to the green and it's a good alternative to work on your game without going out to a full course, spending 3 or more hours, practicing around. The tee box setup, which is discussed in the Tee It Forward program, the initiative done by the PGA of America. This is imperative when you go to a course with, say, only 2 or 3 tee boxes. It doesn't, it's not conducive to many different types of players playing at the course. It's really only set up for a few players and makes it very generalized. So if you have a child along with you, there may not be a fairway or family tee boxes, so it's going to hinder them and not make the game as fun for them. Health clubs need to be a partnership in order to enhance and promote the health benefits of golf. There can be daily workout programs done by members of these health clubs and brought in to show members some golf specific workouts that will help benefit them on the course. And lastly, we want to allow the youth to play at discounted rates, such as the Tierra Rehada program that they have incorporated, where they allow young children to play in only exchange for their work throughout the week. Lastly, this was the survey that I developed. Looking through it, I formulated many different factors and many factors and I can't think of it right now. But many factors and characteristics of different surveys and the literature review that I've done to come up with a model for each course, no matter where it is in the country, to sort of target its audience better in order to in turn profit more and to grow, basically. So some of the things we're expected to see, a typical player is going to spend around $500 to $1,000 a year on equipment. Typically, your average player is going to be around 5 to 10 rounds per year, with about 5 hours of leisure time a week, because the working loads are enhanced now. Coming out of a recession, people are getting back to work, so naturally there's less free time during the week and weekend. The annual household income of our survey is expected to be around $90,000 a year, whereas the average non-player will have a slightly lower household income, because, as I said, golf does take a high amount of expendable income for players. It's not a necessarily cheap game to play. Therefore, the non-players typically will not have as high of income due to costs associated, such as clubs, green fees. You have to wear a certain attire as well at the game. We think benefits of play, if it's highlighted, will definitely increase attendance towards the bottom of the survey. But a majority of current players are expected to be a middle-aged male between the ages of 35 and 50. So, based on those factors, that was how we came up with the model for courses to use in ways that they can typically increase revenue, increase play, benefit the community, help the economy, help obesity rates in the country, and basically highlighting all the aspects that we wanted to in my project. That is all I have on my project, but I thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.